Hey guys, it's Jody with the Whiskey Rebellion Barcast. It's another one of those days, and hey, we're all here. We're having a good time. How's everybody doing first before I go into our topic? Is everybody doing well? Like Rob, we hadn't seen Rob in a while, and it looks like you're at home. So congrats on being home.
I'm at home for at least through Christmas. So
nice.
All right, so you'll get to enjoy the cornbread that's on its way.
Yes, I will. Thank you very much, my friend.
This dude likes some cornbread, man. I tell you what. There you go. All right, so this happened to me today. So I was out honestly, I was on the phone with one of the Barcast members, Chuck, and I was just chatting with him. Actually, I went by the bank and realized that I'm never doing that again because I went through the drive-through and my truck's too big. And I was able to get through it and all. But the problem is like I had to hang out of the truck and everything because I couldn't reach the little thing that shoots up and the little tube that shoots the stuff around. I was
you had problems with your truck twice today because you were on the phone. We talked earlier.
Yeah, I was in the drive-through
at Burger King.
I don't believe that.
Trip the sensors because it's like your truck's like 5 feet off the ground or something.
Yeah. I'm like, nah, I don't know about that, but because I've been through there before and then had any problem. But anyway. I was on the phone with Chuck and I was on, absolutely. So I was on the phone with Chuck and I was like, you know what? I have the only place I can turn around is either in the Kroger parking lot, which is like, Indy 500 people driving through there all the time. Or I can go down just not even a quarter of a mile, maybe a tenth of a mile further down and use the light to come out from my house. And it's also right there, I think, by Big Lots and all of that. But there's what I call, it's kind of a the clientele that go to this liquor store are not your general clientele. Like it's more of the people, like it's connected to a laundromat, right? And most of your consumers that come in there, they're
people trying to pass time at the laundromat, right?
That and coming in to get plastic bottles.
They're not buying bourbon.
Yeah, they're buying stuff to get hammered real fast, So one of those kind of places. But I know the guy, and he's generally, honestly, probably made more today with just me than he makes from an average week, probably in bourbon sales, definitely in bourbon sales. But anyway, I noticed as soon as I walked in, because I was on the phone with Chuck, I was like, hey, they got E.H. Taylor and Eagle Rare and Blanton's on the shelves. Man, that should tell you right there that they've got something hidden. So it wasn't the normal guy Tony that was there. It was another guy, maybe his nephew or son or something like that. And I'm like, hey, what do you guys got hidden? He goes, I don't know. Now, everything was hidden right here. So the answer would have been like, I got this, and this.
Right.
But that's not what happened. He goes, let me call Tony real quick. I'm like, all right, well, tell Tony it's the guy that comes in here every now and then, military guy that knows he always has something hidden and can tell when he's not telling me the truth. Because every time he goes all the time. He's like,
why does it sound like a threat?
Well, that's funny. I've heard that before.
I know you have.
But no, that's exactly how it goes. He's like, I don't have anything hidden. I'm like, I don't feel that that's the truth. And he's like, well, I have this. And I'm like, well, it's not out. So he goes, well, it's in the back. So we're clear on what a communication is. That would be hidden to me. All right. And so I usually find out he has it, this, that, and whatever. So anyway, ultimately he did have a lot of stuff hidden. He had Weller, foolproof, 12-year, Stag Junior. I didn't see which batch it was.
Oh.
Now think about it, with 17 being the last batch, I should have probably checked because that would have been another one just to buy, even though I already have it. But he also had some Elmer T. All of it was hidden. Of course, I bought everything except for the Stag Junior because I already have 2 bottles.
I wish I'd known. I wish I'd known.
Yeah, I wish, honestly. But now this is where I was going with this. It's becoming more like secondary pricing here in Tennessee. And I'm seeing it actually all over the place. And I'm wondering if the reason why it's becoming secondary pricing is because of all the secondary, activity,
basically.
Yeah, we all know about the secondaries pages We know it's happening. Hell, we seen somebody here in Tennessee get arrested a couple weeks ago from buying something off of Craigslist or trying to sell something on Craigslist and got busted by the ABC, so on and so on.
Last week.
Yeah. So we know it all happens. So I'm wondering if they're looking at it as a potential way that, hey, they're missing an opportunity to make additional resources because these guys are still going to pay for it. Now, also, I wonder how much that's going to affect the secondary market too, because if you're already paying secondary prices, if you're going to sell it, you're going to sell it for a profit, or you're just going to try to sell it to make ends meet, you know? So all of that was interesting to me. And that's kind of goes to where we have today's topic. Now, I didn't pay secondary, but I did pay, well, I usually call it suggested retail plus molestation. Just a slight, just like the tip, maybe, okay. You know, is kind of the way I describe it, where I'm not completely getting screwed, but at the same time, I'm not getting retail, if that makes sense. So have you guys seen the same thing? I think when we were talking prior to the show, Rob was telling me that, you know, most of the places he entertains purchases from are all state run, but he's noticed that you can no longer buy like a case of something. You can only buy, they limit it to 1 or 2 products of whatever given allocated product. And that's a good question. Is it on everything, or is it just the allocated products?
In what I've seen in PA and Virginia, it's on the higher demand products.
Yep.
I picked up the Booker's 2104 No Strangers down in Virginia, and they had a 1 bottle limit on that. And granted, I got the last one on the shelf, but there was a sign right on it that said 1 bottle limit. They had 1 bottle limits on their Maker's Mark private selection that they had for Virginia.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've never seen it with Maker's Mark. Never.
Like well, in PA did it with the release of the FAEO2. You could only take 2 bottles.
See, when I was in Kentucky, I bought 2 of those, and I could have bought 10. They had the case sitting right there, and I could have picked up the whole case and just taken it with me. Well, I mean, I had to pay for it, but
well, yeah.
So Ohio's liquor system, Ohio's liquor stores are slightly different. While the pricing is still state controlled, they have private sellers. Like the place I go to just across the border is called Chateau Wine and Spirits. They sell everything. They are their own private store, but the state still kind of sets the pricing for them and says, okay, any hard spirits, they control the pricing on. Their wine and their beer, they're free to kind of, you can charge, if you can get more than MSRP or what the state suggests, go for it. But hard spirits, they limit their pricing to MSRP, maybe a little bit over. And same with that particular store, when they get in the good stuff on Tuesday mornings at 9:30, you got to be at the store. It's in boxes behind their counter, and you can only get 2 total combined bottles. So last time I was there, I got an Antique 107 and an Eagle Rare. That's what you could be like. I couldn't take 2 Antique 107s. I could take like one of this, one of that. Like it was 2 combined bottles. I couldn't take 2 antiques and 2 Eagle Rares.
That honestly doesn't sound awful. I mean,
no, and
like otherwise to know just whatever's allocated or is highly demanded, like there's really just no upper limit on what could end up being charged, so that, you know, it's only the people with, you know, sort of the most ridiculous kinds of budgets will, you know, eventually be able to access these things.
And I think it's taken PA till about the last 6 months to realize that, oh hell, we're getting fleeced by these guys going into these stores and buying 2 cases of Eagle Rare to pop, or 2 cases of Blanton's at a pop. They're not going home and drinking that Eagle Rare. They're not there. They're going home. They may take a bottle for themselves, but they're immediately going to secondary, and they're turning around and flipping it for, you know, that Eagle Rare. I think it's $32.99 in PA here. They're turning around and flipping that for $100 a bottle.
Not more. That part, you know, if you were to look at things as a pro and con, actually look at the bottle limiting as a pro, to be honest with
Absolutely.
you. Yeah. Because, and maybe because I'm not in the business of bourbon, like that's not what I'm wanting to do. And so for me, I look at it more perspective of, if I'm going to buy something, I want to drink it and I want to share it with my friends and stuff like that. Yeah. And I don't feel like you get that if all you're aiming to do is just to sell everything on the secondary. Does it make sense?
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. What about else? What else is anybody seeing?
So I'm kind of seeing that here with the, with the one per. Total Wine does that here when they get stuff. Now, the thing with Total Wine is a lot of the Total Wine folks, they know. We got a couple of them that are actually bourbon guys and gals. So one case comes in, there's automatically, if a case of 6 comes in, there's 2 for sale. And yeah, so it gets interesting. Now we have some mom and pops that have some different things. Works a little different with those, but for the most part, it's still kind of a one per. Every blue moon, someone will get something and they don't put a limit on it. Like today, which is probably another topic, we have the Kroger Fries BTAC and upper echelon bottle drops for the last 4 or 5 days. It's been a mess, but that's a whole different topic. It's a total mess.
Yeah. That, and then, one of the other things I've seen a lot of lately, and I find, to be fair, though I suck at it, is the lotteries. Like, I never win a lottery, but I find that to be a fair way to try to, mitigate that. But I still know that there are people out there, to include myself, that have relationships built with the store owner that get their bottle long before the lottery occurs,
Yep.
So there's that as well, if that makes sense. So I was just curious what you guys thought, because I thought that was an interesting aspect to look at, because we've seen, and I think it's going to adversely affect the secondary. I mean, I wonder if the goal is to close down the secondary, and I don't even know if that happened unless the prices get so stupid that you can't essentially do anything with it, or you can't move it, because, I mean, think about it, the demand's there, but once you get past equilibrium of, supply demand curve, you're catering to only those people that have the available funds. And then at that point, is it really nominal that the need or the desire is there, which opens us back up to the conversation we've had a couple of times ad nauseum. And that is, what about some of the, the artisan types of distilleries? What about some of the, like the Maker's Marks, Barrel Selects and stuff like that may open up for people that are going, this is what I prefer. I mean, like Little John, when he's on here, he's a Maker's Mark whore. Like, that's what he loves, that's his favorite.
Yeah.
And so I always try like that in Larceny, because like we were supposed to go to a football game together, but he had some family that was affected by the tornado. Speaking of which, our hearts, prayers, thoughts, all the kind words, our concerns, and anything we can do, we will do. But those people that are affected, I think there was 120 something people, I think, has been classified as being a casualty.
Yeah.
So that's sad. And but anyway, he was supposed to go to a football game with me on Sunday, and ended up not being able to go. Because the reason why I bring it up is because I introduced him, or I was going to give him that barrel proof Larceny. So where I was going with that is, sometimes like Larceny, I've never had problems with Larceny. Elijah Craig barrel proof, I can generally find pretty regularly, and stuff of that nature. Sorry, we got to go.
I can see your damn eyes, man. You are all over the place. You're like,
it's so hard. I'll be honest with you.
With this conversation.
We're doing this on hockey.
So
night.
I was really talking to Little John, and then I was like, he's losing it. Watch.
That's because they were right down there to score.
I know.
Oh man,
I could tell you was getting into it.
But well, that's because we're playing. Like I said earlier, before the week even started, like I don't even know if I would really be watching this that much, because apparently the entire league, if they have like 2 people that have COVID or on the COVID protocol, they can postpone a game. The Reds have 7 players plus the entire coaching staff that are on the COVID protocol. And they're like, yeah, we can still do this. I'm like, what? Like that's almost 2 lines.
Yeah, the
not to include your
how would you feel if you bought tickets to that game?
That's funny you bring that up, because I thought about that too. I was like, I always have.
That's the reason they're having the game, is because people bought tickets.
Yeah, but I don't know that I would go to the game. I don't know that I don't know if I wouldn't try to sell it, but that would hurt you in the secondary as well. You'd be selling it pretty much at face value.
Yep.
The Panthers are having the same issue. I think they're down to 12 guys.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Just went through it, so they've come out on the other side of it already.
And I would say here in Miami, the secondary doesn't run a whole lot down here. We don't
know the pages.
Well, that's true, because I don't get involved with it. But like I was saying, the 3 stores that I go to, one of them is jacked the price up, but the other 2 pretty much at level where they've always been. I haven't seen anybody come in and really try to bogart a bunch of different stuff. But the one girl, Sasha, who gives me phone calls, she did tell me the other day somebody walked in and dropped $6,000 in one shot.
I have not been in Miami, so that wasn't me. I have a tendency to do that kind of stuff, but it was not me. Not $6,000. I haven't done that much, but I have done a lot before.
I still don't understand that whole secondary market. I've never bought anything on a secondary market. I'm actually not a part of any secondary market pages, and I just don't think I will, because I don't care what it is. There's certain things I'm just not paying a certain amount for. If I can get my hands on some Stag Senior, that's something I'll pay a pretty penny for, but no.
Well, like this year though, with the Stag not being available, you're seeing 19 go for, which had always been the ugly stepsister, which I don't understand why. And I know that's because, it's not as high proof. And I'm like, it's a 116. Like that's 116.8, I believe. That's still like set your ass on fire. All right. Unless you're trying to get hammered drunk. That's a good hot, bourbon that's very complex, and it's the same recipe. But like even that one's going for right at 1,000 or right over 1,000 in secondary. Yeah. And last year it was, you could see it anywhere from 500 to maybe 650,
Yeah.
Right. And I think for me, the most I think I was willing to pay for it was about 500. And if it was like a once in a lifetime opportunity, I'd probably pay 6. But other than that, I think really and truly, if somebody said, here is Stag Senior or a Wagyu, beef, I think I'm going with the Wagyu. I'm sorry.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely all day. Somebody was like, I got this whole Wagyu brisket here, and I got to decide between that and a bottle of bourbon. The bourbon's going to just have to wait.
But, it's just kind of neat to see. It would not be, I will put it differently. It would not be neat to see if I didn't have, this is a hobby for all of us. Like all of us like to have a bourbon because we like certain things. Like I'm having a pretty young one tonight, which is Bluegrass, which is up in, they're moving to Midland.
I was looking at that.
Yeah. Midland, Kentucky.
Okay.
They actually do all their own distillate, but they are going to start, or they have started doing some MGP as well, because the demand's gotten so high, which I would completely contribute to allocation, lack of demand being so high on certain bottles, this, that, and whatever. But where I was going with that is that, there's some good bourbons out there, and all of us are just, we do this because we enjoy it. And we might be in the area we've set up, I should put it differently. Most of us have set up means to purchase that without harming our financial status, like we budget for it. budget just like you would budget for any hobby you had, whether it was, if you're a Jeep guy or if you're, you're a person that likes an actual vehicle like a truck, or whatever it might be. That was me knocking at you, Billy.
Oh, listen, I know. I mean, but listen.
Wow.
Listen, Jody. Listen, Jody. If you can't afford a Jeep, just say that.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point.
So in Maryland, and the tri-state area, actually.
Yeah.
Let's go with, say, Jersey, Delaware, and Maryland, excluding Montgomery County, because Montgomery County, I believe, is still state. State run. Is that correct?
Which Montgomery County?
Maryland.
Yeah, they're weird. You can sell it, but it's got to be a ABC.
Yes, there's still ABC, can't be right?
Grocery stores and yeah. So it's not, you can't go in like Costco or Sam's or Walmart and stuff.
It's basically say from what Harvard County. To say Cecil County.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
In Maryland. It's basically the allocations are in 21. They're run off of yearly sale percentages of, and let's go with Sazerac because we're all thinking, Buffalo Trace Antique Collection, Van Winkle, Pappy Van Winkle.
Mm-hmm.
And
Fireball did this sell.
Yeah, how much Fireball, how much Wheatley vodka.
They need to go back to
the other what is there another one called so many bananas or three bananas,
the 99 bananas,
99 bananas, or the 99 there's a bunch of different flavors.
Yes. And basically they're selling those little plastic bottles, the toots or whatever they call them, and they're basically based off a percentage of anything Sazerac sells through the distributors. And it could be RNDC or any of the other ones that are out there. Prior to this year, they were based off of a point system, and the point system was basically blatant favoritism.
Yeah.
And if you had if you complained a lot as a liquor store owner, then you may have gotten more or less.
I was going to say or less. Yeah.
Yeah. Or less, depending upon how you went about it.
Yeah. Yeah. How you complain.
And then, how do you find all that stuff in Maryland? Basically, I'm not saying it happens in Delaware and New Jersey, but you look for the liquor stores that have a mess of those little bottles squashed in the parking lot. And if you see a bunch of them out there, there's a good chance you may find some BTAC in that store. Not saying how much it's going to be.
Right.
I noticed that when I was out in Savannah, Tennessee. I was like, wow, they really have a lot of the little squatty bottles. And in the parking lot,
they have a huge ass Fireball display. You're on.
Yes, matter of fact, I took a picture of it and sent to you guys. They had the frozen. No, they had the cooler,
like the dispenser thing.
Yeah, the cooler.
Sazerac
started giving coolers this year.
Yeah, and I was like, and so I looked at them. I'm like, what do you guys got that's good? Because I know you got some stuff hidden, and they're like, we don't have anything hidden. I'm like, not true.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
You don't get to have the Fireball display unless you have some nonsense.
Right. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you guys this. So in the whole bourbon community, with the secondary market and everything that's starting to happen, do you guys think it'll get to a point to where 2% controls 98% of the market as far as customers or retailers?
We're getting close to that now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the thing for me. And I guess my 2 cents to all of this is like, I think the secondary market by and large, and I'll say this because I'll caveat it a little bit. I have some very amazing friends who have very amazing selections in bourbon and whiskey that I've been privileged, to be able to partake of things I could never, ever afford on my own. And don't get me wrong, some of this stuff is legitimately phenomenal. Not a single thing I've ever tasted to me has been worth $300, $400, $1,000. Never fucking ever. All right. Never.
And Eagle Rare 17.
No,
that's life changing.
I'm sure it's fantastic. I'm sure it is the nectar of the gods. It's the best thing. It's not worth $1,000. It's really not. It's really not. And here's why. I mean, seriously,
that's a mortgage payment.
I think the entire secondary
any day.
You're agreeing to be price gouged, right? Because you
on
want
that
something
one
that's effectively
specific
a
thing.
status symbol.
It's not a status symbol because I would drink it.
you would drink it, but you could also get to say that you have it and you get to show it off. And, this, there's my, Eagle Rare 70. And it's cool, man, and you got the money for it and good for you. Like, I'm not trying to knock on any one person in particular, but this whole racket, the idea.
I feel like you're talking to me.
I'm not, it's really not about you. It's really not about, if you feel indicted, then, maybe do some thinking about it. I don't know. But
last time I felt indicted, I went and sold stuff the next day because Chuck made me feel bad and pretentious.
That's hilarious. Well, don't do that because I know you won't do it because I said anything.
No, because I don't take anything.
You're saying
as being
exactly.
But David,
there's so much good alcohol out there, right? You don't need to play this game. You don't need to feel like you're missing out because yes, it's really good, but it's not that good.
And I think that's what
that's where I'm always going to be.
David, and I agree with you. I think that's what a lot of people are missing out on. Everybody wants to go out and find the BTACs or the EHT warehouse C or the Tornado
all
warehouse or the the Blantons that are. I'm not saying Blanton's is a bad product. I had one at a bar I went to the other day, but
it's funny you bring up Blanton's because I've seen recently like everything is going up in price, like Foolproof for sure going up. Weller Foolproof, like it's getting crazy numbers. Like here locally, you'd be lucky if you can find one for $350. In the secondary. All right. And it's crazy there's crazy numbers, but Blanton's like straight from the barrel. I seen some earlier today that's still about $250 where it was last year.
Yeah. Well, and again, there are so many to David's point, there are so many smaller craft distillers that are popping up out there that are putting out product that people are just ignoring.
Yeah.
And I know it was one of the things I brought up, but like I'm sitting here drinking, this is distilled about 10 miles from my house, Liberty Pole Spirits. And this is I went down there. I think I showed some pictures from there when I was down there on Saturday. This is their spiced whiskey. It's 86 proof. They use their bourbon. They're not calling it a bourbon because they've added to it.
Okay.
But
is it age 4 years?
It's age 2.
Okay, that would be another reason why they're not calling it bourbon.
No, it only needs to be age 2 years to call it a bourbon.
I'm pretty sure it's before.
2 years to call it a straight bourbon. Yes, it's 2 years to call it a straight bourbon.
Go on.
So, but this is a fantastic whiskey.
I'm the host now.
Their bourbon is really good. Their bourbon cream is really good. That's really the only reason I went down there, to get a backup of their bourbon cream for my fridge, for my coffee in the morning on Saturday and Sundays.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah. But I started talking to one of the owners. She let me sample this whiskey. They're also the ones that made it. I think I've talked about it. They do a peated bourbon.
Ugh.
Where
I'm right here. He's disgusting.
Yeah, I know. You
tell me more.
It's like if you shit in your pants.
The guy took me downstairs and gave me the quick, like,
I don't know what you have against gym socks and Band-Aids, Jody. I don't understand.
He let me taste the peated malt that he had before they distilled it.
Okay. Peated malt.
That flavor did not leave my mouth for like 2 or 3 hours.
There's a reason for that. If you were to like go and find some dog dew in your yard or something, you put it in your mouth, it's going to stay there all day. That tastes well.
Well, and don't get me wrong, I started my whole journey years ago on Scotch, so I don't mind a good peated Scotch or a good Scotch, and obviously I love bourbon, but I'm also of the camp that the two shouldn't meet. And
don't try to make one
that's
the other.
The one bourbon that they don't
that's
like.
funny. It's funny you say that because that's exactly what I look at or I think about Whistle Pig. And I have a couple Whistle Pigs and I can't seem to give them away like they're the plague or something. But that's exactly the reason why. That's how I describe them. That would be the same with the yellow single malt Shanahan's. I'd say the same thing about that. It's almost as if Scotch and bourbon decided, hey, we're gonna hook up on the side, you're gonna do a little swinging, and they made a child, and this is what it is. Like it's like it's not.
I think you use Scotch as a catch-all for everything you don't like.
No, it's a Jack.
Because I've had that. Well, yeah, okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
but this right, because I have the same bottle. For me, it had like this weird like grapefruit
ass taste,
like bitter citrus kind of thing to it. It's like way discordant for a whiskey, and that's why I didn't care for it so much. I didn't get any Scotch anything off of it, but that's just me.
And David, what you were saying, I get, because there's certain things. I mean, like Jody was saying, this is a hobby for all of us. And certain things I'll pay more for, and certain things I won't. So if it's something, will I pay $6,000 to $8,000 for a nice smoker? I wouldn't even think about it. Absolutely. Will I spend $150 on a really, really good knife? Yes. But will I spend $1,000 on a bottle of liquor? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I don't care how much money I win or how much money I ever accrue. I will never own a Rolex. Yeah. One, it's not my cup of tea.
We talked about that earlier today. Yeah. There's some stupid stuff in that.
I get it. People say it's an investment, this, that, and the other. But on the other side too, David, I won't spend $300 on a pair of Jordans. I just won't.
My son tries to get me to buy him Jordans all the time. I'm like, dude, you can get a job. When you get a job, you can spend your money on whatever kind of frivolous bullshit you want to. I'm not buying that. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody has their things that they don't really need. For us, obviously, is top on that list. But there's side constraints. When, to me personally, like the whole thing starts to feel grotesque after you get to a certain point, and that's going to be different for everybody. But for me, it's like, oh yeah, I dropped $1,500 on a bottle of whiskey. I'm like, what the hell are you doing with your life, man? Like there's something off about it. I don't know.
And I agree to everybody has a dollar point at which they won't spend over.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jody's got his $1,500 to $1,800 for his Eagle 17 it's
15 to 16.
15 to 16. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
15 to
which
16.
I'm not going to get anytime soon. So.
Right.
I seen an open bottle going for 13 the other day. I'm like, what?
110. Gotta hope the wife isn't close on my Blood Oath Pact 7 that I got here in PA. That's about my limit as to what I'm going to spend on a bottle.
So the next thing, gentlemen, be good to yourselves.
I don't have a drink.
Hey.
So, and listen, when I say be good to yourselves, what I want people to really know and understand that being good to yourself will help you be good to others. So I think you should buy yourself something. Be good to yourself, because when you're good to yourself, I find it easier to do it for other people, because you know what it feels like, and you want people to have that feeling. It's just one of those things. I really think you should. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. You work hard, you should enjoy the spoils of your labor. Absolutely. Whatever it might be, whether it's
work hard for another 9 years and then retire.
That too. I mean, but it's one of those. It's one of those things where, I mean, but even that's a part of it too, though. When you've worked hard enough and you feel like it's time for you to hang it up, you know what you got tucked away, so do it. Absolutely.
I'll be tucked away hopefully at my 100-acre farm. Anyway, guys, this has always been fun, been great, been cool. I appreciate the conversation. I think it was a very relevant conversation. I think it was real, and I think that we're seeing it in real time right now. So, guys, all have a wonderful night, and love you guys all. And if you ever want to watch a good video, stick around for the next Gaff video, because it'll be after this one, because that's what we do. We record it right after this one. So peace out.
Peace out, brothers.
Cheers.
What's your name? What? What is your name? Tony.